First, let's discuss both dynamic nominalism and looping effect. Then we will look at some examples of each in the real world.
Dynamic nominalism is a term that was coined by Ian Hacking in his work called Making Up People.
In order to understand this term, it's important to know what nominalism means.
Nominalism is an ancient concept traced back to Plato. Plato himself was a realist. He thought that everything had a particular form and that everything was just an approximation of that ideal form.
Plato writes, "We customarily hypothesize a single form in connection with each of the many things to which we apply that same name. For example, there are many beds and tables, but there are only two forms of such furniture, one of the bed and one of the table. This means there is only one real entity which constitutes table, and that every approximation of it belongs to the category or name table, but is different from the ideal form of it."
Nominalists believe that this isn't the case. There are simply a lot of similar structures that we call table, but such grouping is just a human manifestation. Nominalism is the belief that in reality, although we call all objects with four legs and a flat top a table, that the reason we know what tables are is from the act of us humans creating the idea of the table, defining it, and giving it a name or nominalizing it. Knowing this will help in understanding dynamic nominalization because it describes a similar process that is much more relatable and observable.
The looping effect goes hand in hand with this phenomenon. The idea of the looping effect is that over time, humans observe the creation of new categories, and people fit themselves to these categories. And then people begin to fit each other into these categories, and so on and so forth. Here are some examples.
Homosexuality is certainly not unique to our era. We have observed homosexuality farther back than ancient Greece. What is curious is the creation of the homosexual person. Previously, those engaging in same-sex interactions were not placed into a specific category as humans. Same-gender sex was something done, not how a person was described. We don't make the distinction between the straight and the gay person until the modern era.
As Hacking says, it is not suggested that these components are real entities, which awaited scientific discovery. However, once the distinctions were made, new realities effectively came into being.
We may not only cite dynamic nominalism as a description of this phenomenon, but also the looping effect for having created and perpetuated the distinct idea of the modern homosexual.
Autism is another example of dynamic nominalism. We have come to know autism as one distinct disease. However, it really encompasses a whole wide range of mental illnesses and its widely varying degrees of severity. Over time, as a result of the looping effect, the idea that we know today of autism has been defined and perpetuated.
Hope you learned a lot.
Thank
Thank
you
you
for
for watching our video.